Hi everybody and welcome to Authentic Alley, and today we're going to be discussing doubt. So I'm going to start off this video kind of in a different direction than you might expect because I watched this YouTube video yesterday on the concept on synthetic happiness, and it actually clarified a lot of things for me, and probably not the kinds of things that people would expect to be clarified in this situation. But I've been plagued by self-doubt for a very, very long time when it comes to my methods of making money and generating income. And through watching this video, I really started to get why. And it's actually kind of humorous to me that I didn't recognize this before. So, when this guy was discussing happiness, he was saying that when you synthesize a concept in your brain, like if you visualize winning the lottery versus becoming paraplegic, part of you goes, well, obviously I'd be happier to win the lottery than I would, being a paraplegic. But in actuality, when they actually test the happiness of those people after 3 months or so, they find that the happiness scale is the same. And, you could come up with all different reasons as to why, but the way he described it is, once you've made the decision, you are actually triggering your brain to prefer the thing that you chose over the thing that you didn't. And the way he described this was with a set of prints, where he had people list which one was their favorite and make a spectrum, from favorite to least favorite. And then at the end of that experiment, he offered them the choice to get one of the prints, but the only ones that they got to choose from were between their third and fourth choice. And people, having, rated their photos, usually chose the third one because they liked it a little bit more than the fourth one. But when they tested them after they made that decision, they actually discovered that the third place position photo often jumped to second, and the fourth place position photo dropped to fifth. So just in the process of making the decision, they actually came to enjoy the photo they picked even more and dislike the photo they didn't pick. And they even tested this on amnesiacs, who literally can't remember you a half an hour later. And even the amnesiacs who couldn't remember that they even picked a photo, they still found that they had a preference improvement for the photo they did pick, despite the fact that they didn't even remember that they picked it, which is kind of a fascinating concept. So this comes down to this concept of choice, where when you make a decision, you're ultimately going to be happier than if you live in this state of, but what if, or I can change my mind later. And they did an experiment with this as well, where they had college students pick between two photos, and half the group had the option to swap out the photo they chose within 4 days. And the other group didn't have that option. They had to make an instantaneous decision within the next 2 minutes, and that's the one they were stuck with. And while both were happy with their decisions in the end, the people who didn't have the option to trade were significantly happier than the people who did. Because, they no longer had the option of doubt. It was, this is the photo I chose, and this is the one that I get. The same thing goes for, say, marriage. And I think that's actually the reason why people should want to get married, if they're wanting to have a relationship kind of thing. Because what you're doing is you're forcing yourself into a decision. You're saying, this is the relationship I'm going to stick with forever, essentially. And you're going to be happier with that versus if you constantly look at that marriage as, well, I'm in this relationship until a better one comes along. You're ultimately dissatisfied with both relationships. Even if you find a better one, you're still not going to be as happy as you probably would have been had you just decided to stay with that one forever. So it's very fascinating concept. And for me, that really is exemplified in my whole money-making process, because I recognized that when I'm trying to make a living outside of a 9-to-5 job, I'm still living in this state saying that I can always go back. I can always, go find another job if this one doesn't work out. And it might actually be causing some issues for me, because now I'm kind of programming my brain to tell me that I don't actually believe I can do this, but I'm going to try anyway. And some of that comes down to belief systems, but I actually think it's much easier to determine your belief systems through your decisions, but we'll talk about that more either in a few minutes or further down the road, depending on how much further we're going to talk about this right now. But for my career decisions, I recognized that by choosing to work temporarily at a 9-to-5 job and then switch over to see if I can make something work, I'm not actually putting all of me into either of those choices. So instead, picking something that I plan on doing forever and saying, this is how I'm going to make money, there is no other choice, this is it, there's no other method for me to earn income anymore, I'm far more likely to succeed, because now there is no other choice. It's do or die. I either make money or die trying. It's not even a question of can I not, because it's not I either do or don't, it's I either do or die. There is no other option. I keep going until I succeed. So, when people ask me, well, what if this happens? I'm like, but if I make this decision, there is no what if anymore. There is no doubt, because I have determined in my head or in my being that this is the path. And there's a lot of freedom in that. And it's quite humorous to me that I haven't done this with my career, because I actually naturally do this with pretty much any other aspect of my life. Even when I found this one guy extremely attractive, he's probably the one guy that I've actually been attracted to that I know for sure that I was. It's the first time I've ever been attracted to somebody in that way, and I haven't been attracted to somebody since. It's a guy I met in college, and if he's watching this, I hope he knows who he is, because he really did impact my life significantly. But if you had asked me during the time that we hung out if I could have married him and started a family and do things like that, and if I would have been happy with that, I could have easily said, totally, I can do that. I can make that decision right now. Probably a couple days into getting to know him, I could have been like, yeah, sure, if he wants to get married at some point in the future, I'm game. And you might say that's crazy, but I don't have an issue making that decision. When I decide to dedicate my life to somebody, I do it. I mean, even if my friends from middle school decided to come back into my life, I would be there for them. I already decided to be their friend, and that's not going to change, no matter what they do. It's kind of like you can't pick your parents, so that's a decision that's been made for you. Therefore, you're going to love your parents no matter what they do, because there is no other choice. I mean, you can hate your parents, I suppose, but they're still your parents. You're not going to be able to change that. So rather than making yourself miserable by saying, I hate my parents, I wish I had different ones, you just go, well, I love my parents. They're flawed. They might not get everything right, but they are my parents, and they've helped me become the person that I am today. And there's a beauty in that. I mean, it's kind of freeing, because now you're just learning how to be satisfied with the life that you have. And ultimately, that's kind of what the law of attraction talks about too, is learn to be happy where you are now, and then know that things will change in the future. But recognize that what you want is going to come a lot faster if you stop doubting it, and if you stop worrying about it. So when it comes to my financial situation, I am far more likely to succeed if I believe this is the only method for me to make money. So if I said right now, YouTube is the way I'm going to make money, there is no other option, and I will either succeed or die. More than likely, I won't die, which means inevitably I will succeed at some point. I can't be sure when, but, if I make that decision, it's inevitable. It can't help but happen because there's no other option for me. I will be forced to figure something out. And, that's a very, very scary decision to make. And I recognize that. But my dad has actually made a very similar decision, except he went with the 9-to-5 job. He said, the 9-to-5 job is the way in which I'm making money. And the conversation with him I had recently was actually the other half of this revelation. So he determined that, hard work at a 9-to-5 job is the best way to make money. And then when I disagree with him, he goes, but this is the way to make money. So, we have a little bit of friction there, but I'm actually very grateful that we had that discussion, because now I get to be in this moment and be like, oh my gosh, I get it now. So I understand that decision can be hard, and I'm certain that there are issues in your life that you're struggling with the decision, but ultimately the way to eliminate doubt is just to pick something. Focus your attention in one direction and keep moving forward. Because no matter what happens, you're going to keep living. Your life is going to work out, and you're going to be okay. You're going to meet new people. You're going to fall in and out of love. I mean, who knows what happens? Your life is what you make it. But the only way you can make your life what you want it to be is to decide to do so. So, we'll probably discuss a little bit more about the emotional side of decision making and how you really should lean, on your intuition and stuff like that. But for now, this is everything that I want to talk about in this video. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found something useful. I'm going to link that YouTube video on synthesized happiness below, so make sure to check that out. Click the like button, share this with some other people, especially if you enjoyed it and found it helpful, and leave a comment, especially if you have any questions. Let me know if something didn't make sense, or, share your own stories or how you believe this could impact your life as well. Finally, you should subscribe to the video, and also head on over to my Patreon page and donate $5 a month. Right now, looking for 200 people. Actually, I'm looking for 195 because I have one person that donates $25 a month. So getting to that support level would be awesome. So become one of those patrons and donate $5 a month. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.